Don't get it.
Hey y'all.
Hey.
Hey,
How are
Satiya.
you?
How are you?
I'm excellent.
That's good. I'm good.
Uncle Kelly.
That's Uncle Kelly?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Uncle Kelly. That's what's up. Okay.
We're going to get started in just about 2 minutes.
Okay.
Give people, how was your Sunday?
My Sunday was pretty good. How about y'all's?
Football.
Yeah.
I respect it.
It's the first game I watched all day. I was working out. Cool.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't exactly follow football, but I like to watch it when I do see it. Seems fun.
Ooh, 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 ooh.
Oh, let me. I think it should be Gladys Knight and Miss Patti LaBelle got a versus tonight.
Have a versus. Patti LaBelle.
Do you know who that is?
I know who Patti LaBelle.
Oh Lord.
I know who Gladys Knight. Well, I know of them. I don't know their music.
You say you don't know Patti LaBelle's music?
That's what he said. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
I'm gonna do my research after this.
What?
Yeah, I don't.
Yes, he is young. Uncle Kelly.
Another rain. Oh yeah, I'm trying to come. I want to come. That's right. Why are you singing that?
Ready to get started?
Yeah, we can get started.
Okay.
All right. So today we just gonna ask you a couple questions. We're gonna introduce ourselves, and then you can introduce yourself. So I'm Isaiah Exum, as you know, kind of went to school with each other for a long time. This is my mom, Letitia Isby. She's a licensed clinical social worker, and together we founded Positive Role Models. So Positive Role Models is a social enterprise under our parent company, LTI Concepts. Our mission is to serve, inspire, and lead, and we hope to build the capacity of future leaders, not only in DC, but eventually around the world, so that future generations of children will have positive role models to follow. So yeah.
Okay.
That's what we do. She does a lot more under the parent company, LTI Concepts, provides tools and trainings for adults, youth, and things of that nature to basically build them skills for them to develop the capacity of future leaders. So the first question that we have.
No, I want to hear about.
Well, tell us about you. You know, a lot of people may not know you.
Yes.
What you do.
Well, my name is Satiya. I just graduated from DCI in June. I'm taking a gap year so that I can focus a little bit more on my own health. And also I want to, open myself up to new learning opportunities, which is kind of why I started this, the Satiya Explains account or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. And my mom's a social worker too, so it's cool.
Yes. Social workers rule.
Yeah. Without trying, I feel like it would be a crazy world.
Really?
Like, it's still crazy, but it'd probably be even worse if people didn't have people like y'all to talk to.
We do a lot more than therapy. I don't think people know that. But okay.
So the first question we have is, what is social activism to you, and how did you become a social activist?
Well, sorry. I don't know. I don't want to define myself as a social activist just because I don't want to take up something that I don't know. I don't want to claim to be something if I'm not always doing it.
Right.
I don't know if that makes sense. But to me, social activism is consistent work in community, especially grassroots work. It's very important to me that somebody that claims to be for any movement, but obviously near and dear to me is liberation of Black people and all Black people. So for me, if somebody is truly for that, they have to be consistently working within a community in whatever they are best at, and talking to the community and figuring out how to best serve that community. And again, I don't want to say I am a social activist, but I strive to be. I'd rather say that I strive to be a social activist. And I guess I got started because when I was younger, I'm part of a religion called the Baha'i Faith, and part of the mission is, world unity. And so it was very young that I began helping out with children's classes, like teaching other kids, basically. And then when I moved to the neighborhood that I live now from Petworth, and I live like over in like the Deanwood, Benton Row area. When I moved over here, my family very quickly became like acquainted with the neighborhood and started up different like groups. Like there were prayer circles that was started, study circles that was started, and I started a children's class because I felt like, I don't know, I felt like I'm a pretty good teacher, and I felt like that was what I've always been more drawn to, is teaching people. So I had to stop after a while because DCI it'll take a toll on you. But whew, I was doing that for a pretty long time. And I feel like that the base of all types of liberation is always grassroots work with the community. And so I think that's always what comes to the forefront of my mind when I think about it.
That's what's up. I'm gonna switch it up.
You want me to ask the next question? Okay. So I listened to one of your interviews, or one of your lives or explanations that you did regarding intersectionality, and it had me personally very interested in the way that you explained it. For those who watching, can you kind of talk about the effects of intersectionality, especially as it relates to Black women, or let's just start with Black women. Because I think that was a very interesting explanation that you gave.
Well, of course, it's my favorite thing to talk about. So intersectionality is a theory that was introduced by Kimberly Crenshaw, who is a Black woman. And she came up with this theory because she noticed the way that Black women were getting left out of the conversation about police brutality, specifically. And so intersectionality is basically just saying that like different types of oppression impact people that have both those oppressions or both those groups differently than it impacts others. And so it's often a more significant impact. So because Black women are just impacted by racism differently than Black men are. We experience different things. It's just a different experience. It's a different form of oppression. Obviously, it has its roots in anti-Blackness, but the misogyny impacts us in a way as well. So it's just like, I feel like there's always, and then, I know we said to the Black women, but, as a light-skinned person, I've noticed that there are several privileges that I've received that my darker skinned sisters do not. And so that, again, is like another layer. So it's just, there's all these different layers that come in, and intersectionality is such an important theory because when we ignore it, when we leave it out of the conversation, we fail large portions of the Black community and then other oppressed communities as well. I believe that if everybody is not free, then none of us are free. And so if we are not able to apply this theory of intersectionality to social activism, or however you decide to call it, then you will really fail. And I know I said this in the video, but I also believe that when we are able to free Black women who are impacted by intersectional oppression, then we will in turn be able to free all other people, because of the specific ways that Black women are always hit very, very hard by different forms of oppression. Really the hardest. I have like been thinking about the way that Indigenous women are impacted quite severely as well. So I would feel like that definitely needs to be something that's introduced to the conversation much more. But, I know the most about Black women.
What would you suggest for those of us who may be interested in, one, bringing awareness to the topic, and then two, kind of finding a a way to advocate for the liberation of Black women? Where would you suggest that someone starts?
I always believe that we should start in learning. I mean, I know I've put books up, but I feel like it's very, very important to be reading the texts that Black women have been writing for years and years. I mean, and intersectionality, it may have been coined relatively recently, but it's been demonstrated for years historically. I mean, when you think about Sojourner Truth's very famous speech, Ain't I a Woman, where she's explaining the ways that she specifically has experienced misogyny as a Black woman. I mean, it's an amazing, when you think about Harriet Tubman and the things that she was able to do, and the fact that people doubted her not only because she was Black, but because she was a woman, of a smaller statured woman, you know. So like there are these huge examples of intersectionality throughout history. This is not a new thing. And so because of that, because Black women pretty great, there's plenty of things to learn from. You know, there's, however you best learn, there's probably something out there for you. There's probably somebody that will help you understand it. You know, if you're reading something and you have a question, I'll help, not at any time of the night, but when I have a second to get back to you, I'll get back to you, you know. And then as you're learning, you have to start reaching out to organizations that already exist within your own community to start actually changing something. And then finally, the last piece, and something that's very important and near and dear to me, is making sure that you're actually making the changes in yourself. Because we all have issues that we have internalized because of white supremacy and because of patriarchy, and we go on and on. We all have those issues. And if we're not working on them within ourselves and recognizing it and catching ourselves, and also catching our other people around us, the people that we claim to be kin with and everything, whether it's blood or not, if you're not catching them, then really all you're doing is reading. And reading without action is useless. What is the point of that? Just like action without having any knowledge ends up being useless as well. If you don't have the knowledge and the action, both in your own personal life and in your community work, then it's nothing that nobody's really doing, even if you have good intentions.
Oh, okay.
So the next question, just to kind of calm things down, go on a cool note. What is your favorite thing to do and or eat in the city?
Oof. I don't know. Oh, I mean, I like a nice classic, like some wings, some fried mambo sauce. I also love pho. Anybody knows me knows I love pho. So, and my favorite place to go, that is also a hard one. I really like the Botanic Garden or whatever. I think it's really pretty. I've always liked it. I feel like it's just like all these nice flowers and everything. And I also like where I grew up at, which is Petworth. I always feel safe over there, even though people do be a little extra sometimes. I still always feel at home. So.
Yeah. I grew up what would it be, Petworth area? Randolph Street.
Yeah, my friend lives there. Sorry.
Spring Road area. So I feel I'm an uptown baby as well.
Yeah.
She changed the orientation of the phone.
Sorry, my phone needs to charge. I don't want it to die in the middle.
Okay, we're gonna hold it there. We don't need to change it. Okay, so the next question would be: do you believe that black on black, the concept of black on black crime, is a real thing? And if so, why? If not, why not?
I do think that it exists, but the way that it is discussed is extremely inaccurate. Like, people be crazy with it. Obviously, also, obviously I made a video on it and everything, but people generally commit crimes on people that are closest to them. You know, if I'm mad at somebody, it's probably not going to be somebody that lives on the other side of the world. It's probably going to be somebody that I see regularly. And so then if I'm upset, then that's the person I'm probably going to be committing a crime against. And because of the impacts of segregation, redlining, et cetera, gentrification more recently, then most black people live near other black people, most white people live near other white people, go on and on. So like the whole concept of it is very much it's taken out of context. Additionally, something I think is extremely important is the lack of mental health resources, especially in poor Black communities. The lack of school resources, the lack of health, like physical health resources. Like here in DC, over the in Southeast and Northeast, we have, I think, one hospital. I mean, not Southeast, Northeast. I mean, I'm sorry, Ward 7 and 8. I live in Ward 7. There's like, I believe there's like one hospital, and we have the highest rates of gun. So like, we don't have resources. We're not given resources whatsoever. Especially poor Black communities are not given resources. And whenever there is a lack of resources, that causes desperation. And wherever there's desperation, there is more crime. And so because Black people have been placed in dehumanized environments since we were brought to the United States, Black people react in that way because of the impacts of poverty, the impact of racism, the impact of everything. It results in crime, as desperation always results in crime in every single every single race. You know, you look at poor white people, they committing crimes as well against each other, because that's just what happens. That's just what happens. And so like this whole concept of Black on Black crime as a reaction is very misguided at best. And then the last thing I always have to say that I feel like is disrespectful when people bring up Black on Black crime is I feel like people neglect what Black people do to stop it. I mean, I've never met a Black person who's been impacted by Black on Black violence, especially fatal violence, who doesn't hurt them, where they're not invested in some way in ending it. Even if they're not part of something, it's not that they, like, I've never met a single Black person who was like, yeah, people shooting other people, and that's fine with me. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, I've never in my life. So I just feel like when people frame it like that, it's so amazingly disrespectful to the families of victims, to the friends of victims, the loved ones of victims. Like I met Black people that are mourning the deaths of people at such young ages, and for somebody to sit in my face and say, yeah, y'all don't care about Black on Black crime enough, it makes me feel like they don't believe Black people care about ourselves. And it's for that reason I feel very strongly about it. It's just like, you don't know what you're talking about. You never talked to anybody who is actually impacted by anything.
Yeah. One of the, I'm just going to follow up there and let you go. One of the things that I've always, in addition to loss and grief, because I know people understand that loss have to come first, and then we grieve, right? I always have a delicate balance of holding us accountable as well as social workers as we look at prevention. What place do you think accountability comes into our communities? Is there a place? Is there a point where we're at where we can look at accountability from your perspective?
Of course. I mean, the other piece of this, of course, is looking at the actual victims. But accountability has a place. We have to redefine how we think about accountability. We think about accountability as carceral politics, or locking people up, when that almost always just leads to more. That hasn't solved anything. Black people have been the victims of mass incarceration the entire time we've been here. Then when they started up the war on drugs, back during the Reagan era, that's when mass incarceration really shot up. And it hasn't really gotten much better at all. And crime continues to rise. So clearly that form of accountability is useless. It does nothing. So there has to be accountability. If there's no accountability, there's no way for people to learn that they've done harm and learn how to stop it and learn how to, make it better. But the way that we think about accountability has to dramatically shift from this very punitive, like, you have to punish them, because that does not work. It has not worked. And we've had years to see that it hasn't worked. I believe very strongly in accountability because as a Black woman, I know of these high rates of harm that Black men have, what Black men have done to Black women that I've seen, and so I always believe in accountability, but I also know that locking people up just does not work. It does not reduce it. It does not help the victims. Sometimes, very rarely, it helps in a short term, but eventually it always makes things worse. And so, yeah, I believe in accountability. I just think we have to go about it a different way. We have to imagine something better for ourselves.
Okay. You want to ask a question?
Yeah. Someone left a question in the chat, and they said, being a young Black woman, what mark do you want to leave on the world, and why?
I want to. I'm not completely sure yet, but I want to help other people imagine. I've been thinking a lot about like what a new world would look like. There's all this talk about defunding and, you know, the USA is this, and I agree, the world is a super messed up place, but I'm thinking about like, what could we imagine our world to be better? And I want people to be able to think past these boxed in ideas of what liberation is supposed to look like. Yes, Black people deserve reparations. Yes, Black people, all this and that. But past all that, imagine that everything was good. What would we want our lives to be like? What is true freedom? Once we've handled all the business that needs to be handled, what could our lives be? And I want to be able to open people up to that. And the other thing that's very close to my heart is introducing like the idea of true self-care, especially for Black women and Black non-binary people. Not that Black men don't deserve self-care. I'm just focused on my people, my girls. Like what is it truly to take a break? What is it truly to recognize what you need? What does it truly mean to think I am worthy, not because of what I produce, not because of, not because of if I'm helping. I'm worthy because I am. And just teaching and making that something that is like a mantra in folks' head, like I am worthy, period. I don't have to make $1 million to be worthy. I don't have to work 12 hours a day to be worthy. Like I am just worthy. Mm-hmm. Like that is it. Point blank, period. I am worthy. And just like, again, like, what does that mean? What does that mean for our dreams of what it means to be happy? What does it mean for our dreams of what it is to be liberated? I think that is, I really want to help others realize that. Yeah. I want to teach that.
Okay. That was another question. I couldn't catch it out there.
Someone said, what are the time, spaces, or spaces you feel most free in your life?
Ooh, is that Amiri? Thanks, Amiri. I think when I think teaching, I feel very free when I'm a substitute teacher at Stokes. Hey, for the pre-K kids. Yeah, it's really cute. They're so cute. I really enjoy that. I feel like I've always felt very like happy when I'm teaching people. Like I feel like it brings me a lot of happiness. I feel very free then. But I think also when I'm just like kind of sitting with myself and, like writing my little poems or whatever, like, or talking to, when I have a good answer now. Sorry. I think that I feel most free when I'm doing things out of joy. When I'm not doing things because I feel obligated to do them, but because I am genuinely, like, it genuinely brings me joy to do it. I think that then it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I feel free. Doing things out of joy and not doing things out of obligation is like, the difference is huge. And that is really something I've noticed, especially since I just got out of school and everything.
Yeah.
Whew.
One of the taglines we relied on in our parent company was, I imagine a world where children can grow up in safe and nurturing environments with positive role models all around. Mm-hmm. But when you talked about imagining a world, we focus on like 4 key principles or characteristics of a positive role model. So I want to see how you fit yourself into those things. One, we believe that people are not perfect. So to be a positive role model does not require you to be perfect. That you practice integrity, that you rely on principles, and that you focus on legacy building. So can you tell us a time, nothing real deep, where you like, oh, I probably ain't do that right? And when you talk about being not perfect, practicing integrity, focusing on principles, and focusing on legacy building.
So tell about a time that I kind of messed up, and then how I grew from that.
You could do that, yeah. So not perfect, just a mistake you made, or something you look back and be like, oh, I probably wouldn't do it that way again. Mm-hmm. And then the second one would be some things you practice with integrity.
Okay.
The third one would be some principles you believe in. And then the last one would be, I think you kind of answered this, how are you focused on legacy building? So we can go one by one. I know that's a lot. So let's start. What's the first one?
The first one is not perfect. So a time where you've made a mistake and you look back on it and say you would do it.
Okay, I think that during high school, especially my last 2 years, I was very angry at a lot of people because I felt like I was not being defended in the way that I deserved. And I didn't feel like my friends had been defended in the way that they deserved. And so because of that, I think that I shut myself off, or I made a lot of assumptions about people's intent, and I was not able to take a step back and understand that things are not black and white. I was very much a black and white thinker, especially 11th and 12th grade. I was very much like, you're either good or you're bad, and there is no in between. Somebody would mess up, boom, you bad. They would do something good, I'm like, ooh, you good again. Just switching back and forth. And it made me like I was very angry, very volatile, popping off anybody and everybody, blah, 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 blah. So I feel like that was when I don't think I was being true to myself. I don't think I was being honest with myself whatsoever, and I definitely wasn't being honest with others. And so I hope that if I'm ever in that kind of situation, I'm able to maybe take a breath and reconnect with myself, reconnect with, my values, my principles, which we're about to get to. Y'all see how I did that?
Yeah, see that. Okay. What's the second one? Integrity.
Integrity, so a time where you practice integrity throughout your life.
Okay. Time where I practice integrity. I tend to own up to my mistakes in general. That's something that I can say. Like, I recognize, here we go. At the end of 12th grade, I kind of recognized that I'd been shutting people out a little bit. I hadn't been allowing people to, I didn't really let people in that much. And I recognized that even though I thought that I was helping them by doing that, I was really hurting them because I wasn't trusting my friends. I wasn't trusting them, and I wasn't trusting my family to take care of me. I didn't trust that they could. So I just was like, nah, everybody, I'm just going to stay in my room and be real emotional and dramatic all by myself. But I recognized what I had been doing, and I feel like I apologize to my friends for that and my family for that. And since then, I've been, I apologize, but then I also changed because, apology without change is just trifling. So I apologize, and I've been taking steps to change in a way that is not only something that's good for me, but is good for the relationships I hold with people. I love them very much, and I want to make sure that I'm showing that.
And then the final thing is
we on number 3, principles.
We talked about
not perfect,
integrity, principles, legacy building.
I don't think she did principles yet. Did we do principles?
No, we didn't do principles.
We about to do principles.
Oh, my bad. That's my fault. That's my fault. We in there. Okay.
But what are some of the principles that you live by? So like something that no matter what, that's always something you'll do.
Well, I've been in martial arts my whole life, and so there's like something called a creed, motto, and golden rule that we say every day there. And I feel like the principles of that are basically, I'm not going to recite the whole thing, but it's basically one, to do everything with strength and strength and courage is the basic thing for, I think, creed. Yeah. Then to be looking out for other people, you know, always looking out. I guess that's two of them, but, you know, always looking out for your brothers and sisters. I am, you know, I feel very strongly about that. If I really try to consider most people that I come across as family, even if I can't necessarily keep you in my life as close, like I try to think of everybody as like my family. You know, some family got to be a little, but I try to look out for people. You know, I really, like, if I see somebody being hurt in any way, I really try to be somebody that is like, that's not okay. You know, you can't do that anymore. Like, I try to do that very consistently, and then, you know, and treat others how you want to be treated. Very simple, very easy. I shouldn't be dissing somebody just because they don't know something or I'm upset with them. If you know, there's a lot of stuff I don't know. I can't just be mad at people because they don't know stuff. It's not fair. So, yeah.
And then the final one is, how do you practice legacy building? So how will you leave your mark on this world?
Well, again, I just, you know, I want other people to be able to imagine, and I want people to be able to truly care for themselves and truly love themselves.
That's what's up. We coming right down to our last minute. We appreciate your time. We try to stick to about 30 minutes to respect your time. I think we missed one question.
Mamona had a question.
Oh, my baby.
She said, how do you keep yourself motivated and have a positive mindset?
Woof. I think that I've been very, very blessed to have like a lot of people, family and friends who like give me a lot of resources. And one of those resources, my aunt, she introduced me to, you know, kind of connecting with my ancestors more, and like the practice of meditation and how you can use that to connect with your ancestors. I try to do that pretty much every day. I feel like that's been very important for me. I also try to keep in touch with the people that really love me. I know I keep saying this, but allowing yourself to fade out of people's lives that you know help you, that doesn't make sense. So I feel like it's like doing that helps me to stay, you know, positive and motivated to continue to strive towards, you know, social actions and continue to strive towards happiness, blah, 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 all that good stuff. You know, just keeping in touch with the people that have helped you get to where you are right now. Yeah, so connecting with them ancestors, with God and everybody, you know, all that good stuff. And then also connecting with the people in this realm who are important to you. I feel like those have been two things that have been very useful for me. And therapy. Get some therapy if you can, y'all. It's great. Yeah. Great for everybody.
For sure. Hey. Yeah. I'm so happy that you joined us. Isaiah speaks so highly of you.
Thank you.
And so it's always good as a parent to see young people kind of connected and talking about the things that we hope you guys are talking about. Thank everybody for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Do y'all have any more questions? We got like a minute. We also, you want to tell them where our stuff at?
If you want to purchase some apparel, you know, this sold out. This is also sold out. But we have these in stock.
They almost all sold out.
Yeah.
But we got some more stuff coming.
You can go to the link, the one that's pinned right there, www.inspiredpositivity.com. We have sets of masks. You get 2 for the price of 1. So yes.
And then also stay on the lookout for the workshops that we're going to bring to the community. We hope to bring them into the communities for free. Loss and grief counseling, social skills for youth, and other ways we can partner with people. That's going to be through our parent company, lticoncepts.com. And I'll be facilitating those trainings as a licensed clinician in our area. And we appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all next week.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You have a good
Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys as well.
Thank you again.